This is Sharon Vornholt here today with another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. My guest today is North Carolina investor Larry Goins, and I'm excited to have him on again for a second time. I can't believe it's been 4 years, but I look back and he was on the show in 2014. Boy, has a lot changed since then.
Wow.
Yeah. Larry has been investing in real estate for over 30 years. He served as the president of the Metrolina Real Estate Investors Association there in Charlotte. He's an active real estate investor. He travels throughout the U.S. Speaking and training people on the strategies that he uses in buying and selling houses. He's also written several books on real estate. He hosts a radio show and he has a podcast called Brain Picker Pro. Well, that's just the highlights of what he's done. So welcome to the show, Larry.
What's going on? How have you been?
Well, I've been good. I got to tell you, your bio is so long. It is like, oh my gosh, he's really done a lot of stuff, but a lot of good stuff. So let's start out, and I'm going to go circle back and ask you about some of these things, but let's start out by telling people, for the couple of people on the planet that might not know who you are, tell people about you and how you got started. Let's just start there.
Sure, I'll be glad to. You know, I bought my first house in 1986. I've been buying real estate over 30 years. I bought probably over 1,000 houses. I haven't really kept track, but I'm sure it's been over 1,000 houses. And I've done pretty much about anything: residential, commercial, multifamily, triple net leased. I've owned Dollar General stores. I've owned Shoney's restaurants. I've gone in and bought land and subdivided it and surveyed it and cleared, graded, gravelled, and paved into lots. And then I built houses on the lots and sold them. So I've done just about everything in real estate, but there's a few things that I love about real estate, and that's kind of what I focus on. The main thing I focus on are two things: real estate day trading, which is a fancy term for wholesaling. I wrote a book called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading, and also a model I call Filthy Riches, how we buy really, really cheap houses and we sell them for 3 to 6 times what we paid for them with owner financing or lease option, and get sometimes triple-digit returns on them. So that's what I kind of focus on right now.
Okay, so you hit upon something before we go on, like, everybody knows you as the HUD house expert, but you mentioned this wholesaler financing thing. So did you get a mortgage loan originator with Dodd-Frank? How do you handle the wholesaler financing thing?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. Yeah, and for those of you listening, what Sharon's talking about is there's a thing called Dodd-Frank. It was put into act by the Obama administration, designed to protect consumers from unscrupulous lenders. And if you do a seller finance transaction, it still falls under Dodd-Frank if you do more than 3 in a 12-month period of time. So you have to, all that really means is you have to use an RMLO, residential mortgage loan officer, and you have to comply with them. So you got to make sure the person has the ability to pay. So your RMLO is going to check their credit. They're going to check their debt ratio. They're going to make sure that they can afford the payment, right? And, you know, if you do an adjustable rate loan, there's some other stuff, but nobody does an adjustable rate loan anyway, right? So you just have to comply with it, and you need a good licensed RMLO. And I even have a directory that I put together of RMLOs that specialize in working with seller finance transactions.
Well, that's a valuable resource. I know several investors that have a mortgage loan originator on their staff, and that's how they got around the whole Dodd-Frank thing. For people that don't know about this, I personally know investors that that was a huge piece of their business, was doing seller financing and, to end buyers. So they provided a value. These were legitimate people that provided a valuable service to people that maybe had lost their home or for whatever reason couldn't get qualified for a mortgage. It gave them a gap, and then they could refi out or not down the road. But boy, that really put the kinks in some people's businesses.
That's so true. It did. And, you know, it's like I tell people, I don't make the rules. I just have to play by them. So you just got to figure out what you have to do to stay in compliance.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, listen, the fact of the matter is the CFPB oversees Dodd-Frank, right?
Mm-hmm.
and the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. They're busy suing big banks, big institutions, and then when they sue someone for violation of Dodd-Frank, they get a judgment or an award of 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, depending on the size of the bank or the lender. Chances of them going after me or you are slim to none, right? Because what are they going to do if we do 3 seller finance transactions and we didn't comply with Dodd-Frank, right? Well, what are they going to get? They're not going to get enough to keep them in business or to keep them, with enough money to sustain so the government doesn't shut them down, right? But that's not an excuse not to comply with the law, right? I'm not saying don't comply with the law. I'm just saying they don't really have anybody to oversee it. And probably 95% of the people fly under the radar and never do anything to comply. But I did put together a servicers and an RMLO directory. And so that way everybody can comply. And the best part is I have my buyer pay the fee. So there's no reason not to comply.
Yeah, and if you want to send me the link to that resource, I'll post that, because that is a great resource. I'm kind of like you. I think you need to comply with the law. You just need to figure out a way, and that's to get the mortgage loan person to do it for you. You can totally do your seller financing. You can help people, but you do have a responsibility to make sure they can actually pay you back. And that's where the rub came in, at least in my area before. There were some like predatory lenders, like a pawn shop lender who just, his intent was never for those people to keep the house and stay in the house. And luckily it put those people out of business or made them follow the rules. But I don't know. There's still a way to do it if you do it correctly. Like you said, they're not going to generally come after, they're not going to be looking for Larry Goins. But when the problem I've seen comes up is when somebody complains, somebody gets an attorney and they say, well, I've got this seller finance deal and he's not treating me right. And then you get an overzealous attorney and then they go after you.
That's so true. That is so true. The attorneys, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they got to make a living. So they're always looking for something they can sue somebody over. Right? Yeah. I mean, there's all kind of websites out there, whocanisue.com, sueeasy.com. There's a bunch of stuff like that, right?
Wow. Yeah.
It's scary. It really is. Which, by the way, I've already sent you that directory so you can post it right here on this page.
Okay, great. So let's talk about HUD houses for a minute. And I know you've specialized that for a long time now, but there's probably some folks out there that don't exactly know what a HUD house is. So let's start there. Tell them what exactly makes a house a HUD house.
Sure. A HUD house is nothing more than someone went and got an FHA loan. Now, FHA does not make loans. They insure loans, right? You go to a bank like Bank of America or Wells Fargo and you get an FHA loan, and then HUD or FHA insures the loan. The bank underwrites the loan to HUD or FHA's guidelines, which HUD and FHA is one and the same. So they underwrite it to their guidelines. And then if the borrower defaults, the bank just contacts HUD and says, we got a borrower that defaulted, pay us our money back, right? So then HUD buys the loan and they foreclose on the property and it becomes a HUD house.
So that's where the term came from. It's like, I know for a lot of people, it's like a mysterious process. So I kind of wanted to walk them through this because I know you have been super successful in this. So a question I get all the time is, do you have to be an owner occupant to buy HUD houses?
That's a great, great question. HUD does want to promote home ownership. However, typically the first 15 days is only available to owner-occupied bidders. Now, HUD is a daily auction, okay? You can bid on every HUD house
every day,
single day, right? So it's a daily auction, but typically they're not going to allow investors to bid until after 15 days. Now, I have seen it 0 days. It's open to investors day one, and I have seen like 30 days, but typically it's around 15 days, depending on the part of the country you're in and how the market is.
So they want to give the first opportunity to someone who's a homeowner that can live in the house. And I think that's fair. That's fair game.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, that's what they try to do. And the really good houses that are in good shape that could get traditional financing,
Hmm.
those houses are typically taken by the owner-occupied buyers.
Yeah.
What I look for, and I describe in my book called HUD Homes Half Off, is you look for the properties that are mispriced, that have anomalies, like they say it's a 2-bedroom, but it's really a 3. They say it's a 1 bath, but it's really a 2. They say it's, 900 square feet, but it's really 1,900 square feet. You look for uninsured properties. You look for properties that have been on the market for 60 to 75 days or more. And those are how you're going to buy HUD houses for pennies on the dollar.
Okay, so you look for the outliers. It's kind of in the same way you would do that if you were looking on the MLS. You would look for houses
Right.
that need a lot of work, that had been on the market X number of days. Okay, well that gives people a guideline. So they're not looking at every house; they're looking for particular houses.
Right. Now, we do bid on every house every day. Like we're in the Carolinas, North and South Carolina.
Hmm.
Although I bought and sold houses in 12 different states, I focus right on the
Right.
Carolinas. And we do bid on every HUD house every day in North and South Carolina. But typically, I'll give you an example. Like I'm in the Charlotte MSA,
Hmm.
Metropolitan Statistical Area. It's been years since I bought a HUD house in Charlotte.
Hmm.
Years. Now, there's a lot of MSAs in the Carolinas. There's a Charlotte, there's Raleigh, Winston Greensboro, Columbia, the capital of South Carolina, and Asheville and Wilmington, Charleston. Lot of MSAs. Greenville, Spartanburg. It's been years since I bought a HUD house in those MSAs, although I bid on all those HUD houses every single day. The houses I buy, if this is Charlotte, this
Hmm.
is the MSA, the houses I buy are out here, right? They're in small town USA where people were
Okay.
born and raised and they have a family. They were born and raised, they got family members there, they have ties to the community, and they want to raise a family. That's another reason I love the seller financing, because with a HUD house, not only can I get it at a deep, deep discount for pennies on the dollar, but I can also turn around and seller finance that house for
Hmm.
3 to 6 times what I paid for it with owner financing. And guess what? The payment's less than rent.
Yeah, yeah, that is a huge tip for folks. Now, so if and here I am in Louisville, Kentucky. So if I'm understanding you correctly, when I took a gander at HUD houses, kind of a half-hearted gander, I looked in Louisville. So I should go to the next counties over, which would be the smaller towns, or that's probably where I would find them.
Or really just the whole state,
The
right?
whole, okay, the whole
The whole
state.
state.
Okay.
Because there's not as many HUD houses as there used to be. I remember when there were several hundred, 200 or 300 in each state every day, but it's not like that anymore. So there's 2 ways to do real estate. You can go deep. Like
Hmm.
if I wanted to stay in the Charlotte MSA, right?
Right.
Well, there's going to be very few HUD houses, so I wouldn't bid on just HUD houses. If I'm going to stay in the Charlotte MSA, I'm going to do HUD, MLS, direct mail, bandit signs, Craigslist,
Hmm.
co-wholesaling, Facebook marketing, pay-per-click ads,
You do it all.
bandit signs. I'm going to do it all. But by going wide, if you go in the whole state, you can do just a couple of different ways by going wide. You don't need 10 different ways to buy properties if you're not staying in one central location.
Okay, so to take that idea a little bit further, then, that one of the main reasons people, well, a couple of main reasons people hesitate to go into other areas, one is boots on the ground.
Right.
Second thing is finding a buyer's list. But if you're financing the deal, then that whole worry is off the table.
Sure, absolutely. Now, boots on the ground, you got to have boots on the
Got to
ground.
have that.
Yeah, I mean, even I told you this before we even started recording. I had a boots on the ground guy stop by my office, and he's getting ready to drive an hour and a half to go put out signs for us. Right?
Hmm.
He came by the office. It's just because a lot of the deals I do now are within an hour or two of the office, right?
Hmm.
But you can find boots on the ground very easily. There's so many Facebook groups out there. I mean,
Hmm.
let's say you are in Las Vegas or right where you are. You're in
Hmm.
Louisville, Kentucky, and
Hmm.
let's say you're going to buy houses in LA, Lower
Hmm.
Alabama, okay? Let's say you're going to buy houses in Huntsville.
Hmm.
So all you do is go to Facebook, you type in Huntsville, Alabama real estate. And there's going to be dozens of groups that pop up: realtors, investors, wholesalers, cash flow buyers, landlords, property owners, all that stuff, right? Private money lenders. And you join those groups, and then you post on that group, hey, I need a boots on the ground person in Huntsville to put out signs, take pictures of houses, and get contracts signed. You know, I'll pay you a percentage of the deal, or buy the sign, or buy the pictures. You know, what we do, we pay $1.50 per sign, right? We pay $1.50 per sign, and we pay $25 to go take pictures, and we also pay $25 to go get a contract signed.
Okay.
So, like my guy today, I just met him on Facebook. He came by here. He signed an independent contractors agreement. He signed a W-9. He picked up 150 signs, right? And he's going to take pictures on 2 houses. That's $50 right there.
Right.
And if he puts out 150 signs, that's going to be what, $225 plus another 50. He's going to make $300 today.
Yeah. So, and maybe somebody who doesn't make anywhere near that amount of money per day.
Right, exactly.
There is also a service I came across called We Go Look. So that if you can't find somebody, you can use them. But Larry's method of getting somebody that wants to earn some money is by far better, and it is not expensive.
Now, We Go Look is okay for taking pictures, because We Go Look, they'll charge you, I think, $40 or $50 to go anywhere and take pictures of anything. It doesn't make any difference what it is. If you're thinking about buying a boat, right?
Car,
or whatever it is, a car, it doesn't really matter. So the one I like even better than that is called BPO Photo Flow. BPO Photo Flow. Now, they are a what's called a field service rep, and they work for asset managers.
Right.
So if you're buying a HUD house or a bank-owned property, not only will they go out and take pictures, but because they already work for asset managers, they already have a key to the house.
I was going to say, they can get in the house, which is, that's different.
Yeah, they already have a key to house, and they can get in the house. So I also have another service that I use, not only to take pictures, but to get my contract signed, and that's called NSS Notary, National Signing Service. It's nssnotary.com, and tell them I sent you. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get paid a commission, but I like to let people know that I'm referring on business, so they take care of me, right? So NSS Notary, you're going to love this, Sharon. I'm on the phone with the seller, right? I negotiate a deal to buy their property. I tell that person on the phone, I don't care if they're 1 hour away, or they're in Dubuque, Iowa, or Jackson, Mississippi, or Jacksonville, Florida. When I have that person on the phone, I say, look, I got somebody that's going to be in your area in the next couple hours. Why don't I have them stop by, and they can get the paperwork started so we can get your money to you as soon as possible. And they're going to take some pictures of the house inside and out. So I upload my contract filled out to NSS Notary. They assign it to a local notary. Now, you don't have to have a notary to sign a contract, but they have notaries on staff, right? So literally, I can have a notary at any house anywhere in the country within 2 hours.
Wow.
And I set the appointment while I'm on the phone. I don't care where the house is, where the seller is located. It doesn't make any difference. I can have somebody there in 2 hours or less.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great tip. I like that you send the contract to the notary rather than sending it to the person in that situation.
Now, here's another tip that's just as important. I have very specific instructions. I tell the mobile notary in the instructions, when we type in, I say, if for any reason the seller fails to sign the contract, you call me before you leave the house. Yeah. So I can get back on the phone with the seller and reclose them if I need to.
Say, you obviously have a question or two. Let me answer those while they're...
Save the deal, right?
Save the deal. That's great. Now, I'm assuming that HUD houses have been affected by the current market too. There's less foreclosures in most areas. Has it had a big impact on your business?
Well, you know what? It used to be I could do only HUD, right? I don't do only HUD anymore. I do HUD, and I do Facebook, and I do direct mail.
Right.
So I'm still doing HUD houses. I'm still bidding on every single house in the Carolinas every single day, right? but you've got to have multiple sources to be able to
Right.
bring in deals.
Yeah, that's what we say, you know, three to five lead channels. If you're going to work in, like you said, in an area, stay in an area, you've got to have multiple ways to get your deals.
I
Now,
have a
look,
saying. It goes, I'd rather have 10 ways to find one property than only one way to be able to find 10.
and yeah, for sure, for sure. So, if someone wanted to go through, let's say that someone wants to buy a HUD house,
Uh-huh.
and they know absolutely nothing. What's the process start to finish?
Well, they should just get my book,
Yeah, well,
right?
we're going to put that in there, but give them the short version. So you go to the site this first.
Sure. All bids of HUD houses are submitted by, all bids are submitted at HUDhomestore.com. That's the only place you can buy a HUD house. I've
Mm-hmm.
had people come up to me at events and whatnot and say, you know, hey, I subscribe to the HUD website and they're charging me $50 a month, but I'm not getting any deals. HUD does not charge a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Those are other subscription sites, right? So basically, you go to HUDhomestore.com and then you can search for properties. You can even set up an account and you can save properties. You can export the list. We use a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
It's included in our book, and it merges the HUD properties with our spreadsheet. Our spreadsheet, I paid a developer $4,000 to
Wow.
create this. It's got all kind of macros in it. You can push a button. You can import the list. It'll merge it. You can have notes in there. You put your bid amounts in. It has links to the Zillow page for every HUD property, links to the Realtor.com page, links to the map, links to other stuff as well to do your due diligence and your analysis. It's really a cool spreadsheet. It's also color-coded. The new listings are one color. The price reductions are another color. The back on the market are another color. And there's something else I can't remember, but it's all color-coded to help you easily understand it. You could literally be bidding on properties in 5 or 10 different states at one time. It's so simplified, right? But the process is, you know, you look for properties that are available to investors. There's different bidder types. There's owner-occupied, investor, nonprofit, government agency, and dollar homes. First of all, forget owner-occupied unless you're buying a house to live in it. Investor is what you want. There's nonprofit, forget that. There's government agency, forget that. And there's dollar homes, forget that. You don't want to bid on a dollar home. It's not a house you want, trust me. Okay? So,
Not bad.
I know, right? So you bid on the ones for investor, and HUD is a daily auction. You can bid every single day, right? And that's what we do. We set up our spreadsheet, and we have a VA in the Philippines that's been with me about 5 or 6 years, and all she does is spend a couple hours a day bidding on HUD houses. It's
Okay.
really that simple.
So let me ask you. So two things. So you do not have to the offer does not have to be submitted via an agent.
I'm sorry?
The offer does not have to be submitted via an agent.
All offers are submitted by a realtor or a licensed agent
That's
with
what I
what's
thought.
called an NAID number. That stands for National Identifier Number. If you don't have one, there's a tab right on HUDhomestore.com that says find an agent.
Okay. So then your VA, she's doing this for you. She's submitting the offers. How the heck did you ever train her to submit offers on different houses and to get the offers right?
It's very, very simple. She has a simple spreadsheet that I mentioned, and we have the bid amount, right? And all HUD houses are identified by what's called the case number. Okay. So really all she needs to do is she's got her monitor divided up into 2 sections. On one side, she has HUD Home Store, the bid page. On the other side, she has a spreadsheet. So all she really has to do is simply copy the case ID, post it over here, right? Copy the bid amount, post it over here, hit submit. Then she hits the back button, refreshes the page, goes to the next property, copies the case number, paste it, copies the bid amount, paste it, hits submit. It's really that simple. She's only working about 2 hours a day for us.
Wow. Wow. That's just awesome. So I guess you are an agent then. You are an agent.
Well, I'm a licensed broker, but I don't even run them through me. I have another broker that all of them go through, all my bids go through. And my assistant is nothing more than an unlicensed assistant doing clerical work.
Yeah.
Right. Any agent can hire an unlicensed assistant.
Right.
She's not negotiating deals or anything. All she's doing is doing clerical work, putting in the bids.
So that's what she's doing. So that's the way a lot of us that are not agents have always had access to the MLS.
Right, right.
So, okay. So what's the typical closing time on a HUD house? Is it a long drawn out process or, well, let me go back one step. Let's go back to the bid amount. Do you have a formula for bidding less, or I know you buy HUD houses way below what everybody else buys them. So that's definitely a skill or a knowledge that you have to have. So how do you know where to start?
That's a great question. I have two bidding methods. I have the shotgun approach and the rifle approach. Now, the shotgun approach is a short-term temporary approach whenever you're going into a market to begin with. And all that it simply is a percentage of list. I'll give you an example. In my market in the Carolinas, if I was doing the shotgun approach, which I don't anymore because I've graduated to the rifle approach. As I mentioned, shotgun approach is a short-term temporary bidding method. But if I was starting out in a market, up to $50,000 listing price, I'm going to bid 25% of list. So let's say the house is listed for 40 grand. My bid is going to be $10,000.
Okay.
$50,000 to $100,000 list price, it's going to be 40%, right? So if the listing price is $60,000, 40% of that is $24,000. Over $100,000 listing price, it's 50%. So if it's $120,000 list price, the bid is 60.
Okay.
I know I'm not going to buy any houses at that, but all I'm trying to do is get a bunch of bids out there and get what we call counter offers, because HUD will counter offer.
Okay.
So once they counter offer, then I'm going to analyze the property. When they counter, we're gonna pull up the property. We're going to look at the after repaired value, the amount of repairs, the rent comps, the comps for the area, what's the neighborhood look like, that sort of thing. Is it a better rental or a fix and flip, and what can I sell this property for? Then we change our shotgun bid to the rifle bid amount, right? We zero in on exactly what we can bid.
Okay.
Now, even though the shotgun approach is short term, let's say you're bidding on 100 properties a day with the shotgun method. Once you get all your bids going, then what you're going to do is take each bid, each property one at a time, and you're going to go through and bid or analyze the property, spend about 5 to 10 minutes on each property and analyze that property. Let's say the property was listed for $40,000 and you're bidding $10,000. After analyzing the property, you might look at it and say, wow, I could really pay $24,000 for this house. So then you change your shotgun bid of 10 to the rifle bid of 24, then that's the number you're going to bid from now on, right? And then you go to the next property and do the same thing until you have all 100 properties bidding the rifle approach.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I get the point there. So you just want to get a bid in and get a counter offer. That's how you make those offers. I was having trouble wrapping my brain around how you would analyze that many properties and knowing that you weren't going to buy most of them, but that makes complete sense.
Right. All we're really trying to do is to get a counter offer to get some activity going so we can start zeroing in on the properties that HUD has indicated that they're interested in selling at a discount.
Okay. So any statistics on percentage of houses bought per offer so somebody doesn't get totally discouraged when they get other offers turned down?
That's a really, really good point. That's a really good point. And I wish I had stats on that because I'll tell you, you've got to make a lot of bids. I mean, think about it. You're bidding online on the computer and you're not really putting forth any effort in this, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you can hear that siren or not. Can you hear that?
I just heard a tiny beep, but I couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah, that's a nuclear siren. I'm near a nuclear power plant, right?
Oh, Lord.
They test it once a month.
I was saying, do you need to run?
They test it once a month. So anyway, so yeah, what we do is we put our shotgun bid out there, and it's short term, and then we zero in on the rifle approach,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's our bid from now on out. All we're trying to really do is get a bunch of counter offers going. And with HUD, you might have to make 200, you might have to make 500, you might have to make 1,000 bids. But if you're bidding on 100 properties a day, that's 500 bids a week.
It's a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and you're only talking about a $3 an hour VA. It takes them 2 hours a day to do it. So it's not like you're on the phone grinding out deals all day long. I mean, I can get on the phone with the seller, and I can buy about 1 out of 5 people I talk to, right? If it's a decent lead, right? But, you know, the thing you got to realize is it's not like it's taking up a lot of your time. So it doesn't make any difference how many bids you're putting in. It's not really taking up a lot of time. And even if you have to put in 1,000 bids to get a deal, you know, you might spend $20 paying a VA to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you have a system set up so that it's doable and you don't have to do it. That's the real magic there is
exactly
your VA. So yeah, that's an incredibly good process you've got there. So another question I get all the time is, can you ever assign or double close a HUD deal?
You know what? You cannot assign a HUD deal, but you can do a back-to-back closing.
Back-to-back
double
closing.
Closing, whatever you call that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So they'll send their paperwork in and you just simply sign it in your attorney's office.
You're going to have 2 closing costs. Yep. When you buy it, when you sell it, you cannot assign a HUD contract, but you can use transactional funding, partners. You can use a lot of different things, whatever you want to use. Private money, hard money, cash partners, credit cards, whatever you want to use to buy a HUD house. You just cannot assign a HUD house.
Right. In my area, I double close or simultaneously close just about everything. It costs me about $350 to do that. So it's real cheap. It's clean. I like doing it that way rather than assigning. But if I lived in New Jersey, where it was going to cost me an extra $7 or $8 per deal, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd be doing something different, probably even transactional funding.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, before we finish up here, a couple more things. Can you tell somebody about a killer deal you bought, like a case study or an example?
Oh, yeah. Any type of deal or a HUD house or what?
You just tell people about a good deal. I hear it all the time. There's no good deals out there, Larry. Did you know that?
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. Haters are going to hate. Okay. You know that.
I know that.
We posted a property on Facebook the other day. My marketing person told me about this. She showed it to me. We posted a property, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath brick ranch house for $29,900. And somebody on Facebook says, sounds like a scam to me. I can't believe this. And in our postings, we say, you know, does not qualify for bank financing. You need to be a cash buyer. They said, it sounds like a scam to me. Banks will lend on properties in bad shape. You know, this is BS. You know, it was crazy. It was crazy. So, but as soon as you engage that person, they're going to fight with you. Right. Yeah. So, and they even made the comment, there's no interior pictures, blah, blah, blah. So we have a little signature thing we put in all of our ads. So I told her this morning, I said, let's just do this. Let's just change our signature. You know, Investors Rehab wholesales properties or have been wholesaling properties for over 10 years. I put 10. I said, let's put 30 because we have been doing this for 30 years. But I said 30 is going to be unbelievable.
For that person, it will.
Yeah. So I put 10 years, right? And we work with lots of investors. Here's our website. Here's our phone number. You know, for more information and interior pictures, go to this, you know, there's all kind of haters out there. But anyway, let me tell you about a few deals we've done lately.
Okay.
We're closing this week on a package deal I bought over the phone from direct mail. We bought 6 houses. Each house is rented out for $350 a month, right? $2,100 a month in income. We bought all 6 of them for $35,000. $35,000.
Oh my word.
35,000. And we just wholesaled those for 55,000. We're just making a quick 20 grand and move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so we bought those. We bought another house recently, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath brick ranch house. It's got a tenant in it that's not paying $350 a month. Did you notice that? Not paying $350 a month. And we're buying it for $11,000, right? Now we could get the tenant out and turn around and seller finance that deal for $29,900, $39,900. There's other houses that are selling in the area for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, right? So it does need some work, but it's livable. There's people living in it right now. We bought another house recently for $2,000.
Wow.
It needs a total rehab, but we bought it for $2,000. I bought a single wide mobile home in a park for $1,500. I
would have no idea. I would think that'd be a good deal, but since I'm not a mobile home investor, I have no idea about that one.
Well, think about it like this. There was a lady living in the house. Okay.
It was
how bad can it be, right?
It's $1,500. Yeah.
$1,500. But I just ended up giving it to somebody I knew that needed a place to live. So I just gave it to them. But yeah, I mean, there's all kind of deals out there. We just got a HUD house. It's probably been a few months ago that it was listed. It was listed for $270,000. They dropped it to $215,000. I bought it for, I want to get my numbers right. I bought it for $120,000, I believe, or $125,000, and I sold it for $140,000.
That's right? A killer deal.
Yeah, and that was a HUD house, a great fix and flip house. You could literally look across the street and see the water. It wasn't waterfront. It was one row back.
Wow. So I know I started to ask you this before, and shiny object syndrome took over, and I asked you something else. How long does it take to close a HUD deal from the point when you get your offer accepted? Just ballpark it.
Oh, you did ask me that. I just ignored it, I guess.
Oh. Well, I thought it was on me. So
it was me got shiny object syndrome. But yeah, we typically put a 30 or 45-day closing on our paperwork.
So that's quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has just been a great show. Do you have some final advice for people, or any final tips for all those people out there that don't think this is possible? There are still people out there that do not think this is possible.
You know, I see people at RIA groups and other places, and people say, you just can't get any deals anymore. My first question is, how many offers did you make last week? Well, I didn't make any. You can't get any. Hey, I don't get deals either. You know, people always say, Larry, where in the world did you find that deal? Hey, here's my standard response. When I found it, it wasn't a deal.
Yeah,
I created that deal.
Yeah.
I created that deal, right? I mean, I've bought houses where they were asking $100,000 and I end up paying 20, right? It blows me away. You know, you've got to have some negotiating skills in real estate. You got to learn some sales skills. You got to learn some negotiating skills. Get out there and listen to podcasts like yours, like mine. I've got a couple of podcasts. Read books, listen to books, you know, go to events, get educated, right? And find somebody you know, like, and trust, and latch on to them and get as close to them as you can. That's what I've done. You know, we talk about education. Look at this.
I see. Yeah, I told someone just yesterday, they talked about, well, I don't know about going to this seminar. Oh, my word.
Wait a minute, I'm not done.
Oh, yeah.
Look, 2 more.
You got a lot of stuff there, Larry.
2 more. Hey, there's my guitar.
That's important.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I still go and learn. I told somebody yesterday, it never stops. So I'm going to an event for me next month, and I'm excited because there's always something more to learn. You
know, Sharon, I probably spend $40,000 or $50,000 a year on my own education. Even now, I guarantee you, there's nobody listening to this program that has spent more money on education than me. I guarantee you, there's nobody listening to this that has spent more money on education than me. That's why I'm on the podcast, right? And I don't mean that to be conceited or anything like that. Please don't take that the wrong way, right? Please don't do that. But you've got to invest in your own. Even still right now, I'm in one mastermind that's $25,000 a year. I've been in it for 7 years. I just renewed. I'm in another mastermind, right? I'm in another mastermind that's $10,000 a year plus $1,000 a month, right? I just got back from another event. I paid $1,000 to get there. I went to an event last month. I paid $8,000 for 2 days.
Yeah.
So I am a firm believer in education. So get out there and get education. And people say, yeah, I tried this course, but it didn't work. Of course it doesn't. Courses don't work. You have to work.
You have to do the work. You have to take the information and you have to do it. This is what I said about my course. Somebody wanted to guarantee, and I said, I will guarantee you that if you take this course and you follow it and you do exactly what's in there every month, you will be successful. But that course will not in itself, it's not a magic button.
That's true. That's like in our trainings. I have an action plan.
Yeah.
And my guarantee is simple. I guarantee you will make money if you follow the action plan. It's not just read this, listen to this, and watch this. It's an implementation action plan. You've got to take action. So my advice, back to your original question, what kind of advice would I give people? Get educated, take action. Don't just get education, right? Remember, this stuff is self-help, not just shelf-help.
I like that one, shelf-help. Okay. Okay, so how can these listeners find out more about you, your programs, your books? Go to your website. What's the best way for them?
Yeah. My main website is
Larry.
Yeah, my main website is larrygoins.com. From there, they can find links to get a free copy of my HUD book if they want, or go to freehudbook.com, or just Larry Goins. We've got an investor's kit that we can send out to people if they want to call 877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO.
That's cool. Okay. So I'll put all those resources there. And then I know some things, like I might need a link to your radio show. I've got that information, but we'll try to hook you up. Larry, this has been a great podcast. You're always full of information, and I can tell you're passionate, like I am, about teaching other people what you know. But HUD homes, I think that a lot of people get scared off by HUD homes, and this show is living proof. You don't have to be scared off by HUD homes.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are scared by HUD homes, and it can be overwhelming. But, somebody said one time, real estate is not risky. Being uneducated is what's risky. When you get the education, it takes away the risk.
That's a great way to put it. So, yes, it is risky if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Well, thanks again, Larry, for coming on the show. And I can promise you we won't wait 4 years before we do this again. So I was kind of taken aback by that. But Larry's very generous with his information. So, folks, if you have any questions, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them. And I'll be back soon with another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.